And now on the Two Murrays, Strata Matters with Stephen Brell for the Strata Community Association, New South Wales, the peak body representing the strata industry.
We always forget the intro.
No, I don't.
Oh, you do all the time.
Not at all.
Oh, you do all the time.
Not at all. Not at all.
Anyway.
Stephen, very good afternoon.
Good afternoon, gents.
Yes.
How are we?
Well, I'm on fire this afternoon. 131873 is our telephone number. Now, 131873, you may have some queries for our guest, Stephen Brell. It seems to, if you scratch this little itch, boom. There are so many, absolutely, there are so many calls about this because it's a bit like home loans. Unless you actually ask a few pertinent questions to actually satisfy yourself, you kind of exist in this fog. And it's the same in the strata environment. Who says you have to get permission to put in a bunch of new plants that are going to, block out the second story view of the beach? You can't have giant sequoias, blocking out Mr. Smith's view. No. So there's got to be a structure in place to...
You'll get to talk in a minute.
Yeah, that's all right.
I'm just suggesting avenues of inquiry. 131873 is our telephone number. Stephen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, mates. How are you?
Good, mate. Now,
He's been in here for half an hour and he hasn't said anything.
No, but here's the thing. I want to get stuck into this one.
Oh, here we go.
New building commission, right?
Yes.
How does this... who's the New South Wales building commissioner? David Chandler.
It's David Chandler, that's right.
Now, he's doing a heck of a job, right?
He is doing a fantastic job.
Everybody seems to be saying.
Yes.
Why wasn't he on the beat 10 years ago, 20 years ago?
Well, that's because these problems weren't really manifesting themselves in Strata and in building defects. Those of us in the industry knew what was going on, but they weren't getting a lot of public publicity out there. It wasn't until, regrettably, we had incidents like Mascot and Opal Tower that, it really shone a spotlight on defects.
What would you say that, he's got a massive portfolio and he's got a lot to do. Are defects on the top of his list?
Absolutely, yeah.
Without a doubt?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And was there a period of time that he's going to be able to look back and say, you know what, it was really crook between this date and this date? What went wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. So what he's put in, 5 or 6 different pillars that he's looking at to really clean up the construction sector in New South Wales. And part of what Strata Community Association is doing, we're working in conjunction with his office. Yep. So we conducted the first Strata Building Defects survey in 2021. And we've just finished our second defect survey with him.
Wow.
And David is a very analytical thinker. So he likes to act on data and see what's actually going on out there on the ground. And that's the purpose of those surveys.
So it's interesting. Defects, originally caused by the builders, no doubt, but never picked up by the final inspectors.
Yeah, look,
who's getting kicked here?
Yeah, it's a real collage. So this is what David's brought in. Because often what would happen is a builder would build a building, and then it would come back and they actually found that it was the design of the building that was at fault, not the way the builder built it.
But that design was signed off by a certifier in the first place.
It would have been signed off by an architect and a few other people and a certifier. That's right. Okay. So what one of the very, very important pieces of legislation that David has brought in is something called the Design Building Practitioners Act. Right. Now this has 2 arms. The first one is for building design. And designers are now responsible for their work. So if something goes wrong in the design, they can be held liable. Yep. The other thing for owners' corporations to be very mindful of is that if they are getting major works done, now major works is defined as over $5,000, they need to get what's called declared designs completed by a designer for major works like waterproofing, structural elements.
Major work over 5,000. You're cracking jokes, aren't
that's
you?
Right. Yeah, it
costs you 5,000 to get your lawns mowed.
That's right. Yeah. So it's the government has really got a mandate to try and ensure that buildings are not only properly built but properly maintained.
Okay. On the top of the defects notice, have you got any idea what it is? Is it, I don't know, is it structural stuff? Is it plumbing? Is it electrical? Is it cracks? What is it? What is the defect that everybody's talking about?
It's really interesting. So back in 2021, the major defect was waterproofing.
Right.
Okay. And what we found, waterproofing not done properly. So things like waterproofing of your balconies, of your shower trays, wet areas, that sort of thing.
Yep.
What's really pleasing from the defect survey from 21 to 23 is that we've gone waterproofing made up 33% of defects in 2021. Jeez. That's dropped down now to 16%, which is really pleasing.
Okay.
So what's the top of the pops now?
Top of the pops now is fire protection.
Right. So
fire installations not being done properly. So both the equipment and also things like penetration. So whenever there's a penetration through a wall, like it might be a pipe that's going through, the plumbers and the fireys need to make sure that they're putting proper seals around those, which will stop or prevent the spread of fire. And what they're finding is that a lot of those sort of protections aren't being put in place. Okay,
so the inspection process is interesting, and I think for most people, if they haven't been through all of this, watching a television program simply like The Block and take waterproofing in a bathroom, it's got to be signed off and certified before the tiles go down.
Yeah,
you can't sign off on waterproofing once the bathroom's finished.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that process being adhered to in major works like unit blocks?
It is, yeah. And so prior to David's appointment, it was pretty hit and miss, we have to admit, and that's the reason why so many defects were manifesting themselves. But the feedback that we're getting and what David is saying is that there are a lot more builders are now taking far more responsibility with this, and they are making sure that things are signed off before they're completed, which is good.
Which brain box thought it was a great idea, Stephen, to allow your brother-in-law to certify the slab you just put down?
Yeah, regrettably,
come on,
that was a legacy.
Just
absolutely. Look,
that looks really nice. Yeah, good. But an elephant can drown on the crack you've left.
That's right. Yeah, regrettably, that was a legacy of the governments of the late 90s who completely changed the way that buildings were inspected and certified in New South Wales. So we went to this regime of private certification, which looked good on paper. However, in practice, it wasn't yielding the results that we needed.
There we go, 131873.
Calls?
Indeed, it's a very good idea. I'm so glad I had that idea. Thanks. Beverly's online. And Bev, good afternoon to you.
Hello.
Hello, Bev. I hope you don't mind me calling you Bev. I've got an auntie, Bev.
Fine. No, my mother called me Beverly when I was in trouble.
I love it. How can we help?
Now, we've had a lot of problems with our strata, and we received the notice of our AGM on Friday night, and the first page, it says straight out, there will be an increase in the annual levy of $1,200, and the owners corporation has not been contacted about this, or we haven't been able to vote on it. And the second thing is they've now made this job called bin maintenance for one of the residents. He was getting $20 a month. Now they want to increase it to $20 a week to cover $1,040 for an annual thing. It looks as though the increase in the strata levy is to pay for this bin maintenance. What can we do?
Okay, well, first things first, when you go to your meeting, you and the other owners within your building, you determine what your budget is and what your levies will be for the coming 12 months. Now, hopefully whoever has prepared your budget has based it on some actuals of last year's expenditure. And what they're looking at, obviously, the fellow who's putting out your bins, he's wanting to get a little bit more pocket money for what he's doing. So, that's probably the reason for the increase. Right. The one thing which I would encourage, the fellow that's putting out the bins, you do need to make sure that he is properly insured, because if he gets injured while he's on the job, you and your other owners might find yourselves in trouble.
Because the insurance company will say, "Where have you been?"
What is wrong with you today? All right, Beverly, thank you for that.
And
really
if you don't like it,
appreciate
I'll come around and I'll put the bins out for half the freight.
Now, Paul sent us a text. He said, "Hi, chaps, could you please ask if the same building conditions apply to transportable buildings for commercial use?" Is that something that's in your remit or not?
No, not really. So again, what David's doing at the moment, his mandate initially was to look at Class 2 buildings, which is residential strata schemes. Right. He has announced that he will be moving into Class 1. So for anyone with a single dwelling but a single dwelling house that's under Torrance title, that is also going to be under his remit. Okay. But he's focusing on the strata title properties at the moment.
Okay, beautiful. What do you reckon, Muzz? Want to take one more call?
I think it's a great idea. Jenny, very good afternoon to you.
Oh, hi. It's to do with the correspondence that goes to the Owners Corporation. Can the Secretary edit or redact portions or deny or withhold access to other committee members?
No, they can't. So if you're all owners are entitled to undertake an inspection of the books and records of the Owners Corporation. The only time that they are allowed to withhold documents is in the event that the Owners Corporation is in a legal battle with a resident of the building, and there might be a legal privilege that's attached to those documents. But in all other cases, no, they can't withhold information from you.
Not because they don't want to or they don't like you.
Yeah, exactly right.
Gee whiz. All right, go get them, Jenny. 131873, that's the number. What?
That sounds dreadful.
But this goes on.
It does go on.
It does go
this
on.
goes on. The bullying and harassment goes on by these people that sit on these damn body corporates. No, what are they called?
Owners corporations.
Owners corporations.
Yes.
They've got nothing to do with their lives. If worrying about whether it's going to be a grevillea or a plum tree that's planted on a piece of grass.
Say I'm out of control today.
Well, anyway, it's close to my heart. 28 minutes after 2, Stephen Brell's with us. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back, some sport, and then more of your calls. Don't go away. Yeah, back to Stephen Brell in just a moment. 131873 is our telephone.
What are you eating over there? It stinks.
Tuna.
You should not be able to bring that rubbish into the studio.
It's green seas tuna and tomato and onion with my saladas.
It just... Oh, boys, what do you reckon?
Stephen wants a bite. I know he does. Yeah.
It stinks.
Does it really stink?
No, it smells all right from here.
Hey!
I'm a lot closer.
Yeah.
28 minutes to 3 in Sydney, 28 to 2 in Brizzy. Roof. Now, Marge, you're going to get some calls in just a moment for Stephen, but interesting text that's come through, hasn't put a name to it. People work hard all their lives, own a valuable property with no control, and sometimes can barely eat. He said, I've heard I'd be scared to move in. He said, I'm in a house and I'm worse off. Really? With a question mark. Basically saying he'd be scared to move into a strata situation.
No, not at all. I mean, look, and this is part of what the mandate of our association is, we really encourage people to get involved in their owners corporation. Apathy in strata is a huge problem. So it's only often the noisy ones that do get involved. But, those who are interested in their property and interested in looking at things like their levies, how their properties maintain, governance, I do encourage them to get involved.
Okay, 131873 is our telephone number. This is the Two Muzzies, Sunday afternoon, the 22nd day of October. And Stephen Brell, our special guest this afternoon, taking your calls on Strata. Let's go to Mai from Granville in Sydney. Hello, Mai.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
How can we help?
Good afternoon. Yes, my unit has been flooded for 4 times since April 2022. And recently, a month ago, it flooded again, and then when I keep contact them, they say nothing wrong with your unit. We've been approved to put the gutter guard, but don't send any message, don't send any email about these matters. So what can I do?
So, by the sounds of it, it's flooding from the roof, is it? Through the gutters?
I think so, because they don't investigate. They just keep nothing wrong with what your 4 unit. It's been flooded 4 times already.
Yeah, okay. It doesn't sound like you're in a very good situation there. Look, you do have rights to take your owners corporation to NCAT, which is the New South Wales Civil and Administrative Tribunal. Your owners corporation has an obligation to properly repair and maintain common property, and I do emphasise the word there, properly repair and maintain, because for too long many owners corporations have simply skimped out on works just to do the cheapest job. So they do need to properly repair and maintain it, and if they are found to be negligent, you can be compensated for your loss. So that's an avenue that I would be pursuing.
Sounds like it could be a phone call for your organisation. Absolutely. Have you got a pen or a pencil? Because I'll get Stephen to give out his telephone number and you can contact him tomorrow.
Absolutely. So 9492 8200.
9492 8200, and you'll find a friendly voice there on the line, and they can take you through your particular issue, because that sounds a bit... I mean, please, 4 times?
Yeah, it does.
In the last, 12 months?
Yep.
It sounds like there's a definite problem there, which her owners corporation is not addressing appropriately.
Okay, let's go to our next call. I've got a few of them. Liz, hello.
Hi, Muzzies. I've got a good question for Stephen. I had a wall that was compromised from water. They asked me to get the tenant out, got the tenant out. They've been repairing the wall, but they want to stop paying me rent now because they said it's finished, but it hasn't got a safety occupation certificate. They tell me the walls, the integrity of the wall is fine now, so I can put another tenant in. And also that that I had three three-phase powers points in there, and now I only have 2, and they've put in stainless steel, which near the power and water would electrify the whole wall, to my naive thinking. And I just need to know, where do I get an independent engineer to get a safety occupation certificate?
Yeah, again, I'm going to give you a very similar advice that we gave to Mai. If you give our association a ring tomorrow, 9492 8200, we have a panel of engineers that will be able to assist with that. I will just ask you very quickly, Liz, was it your contractor who completed the works or the owners' corporations?
The owners' corporation.
Okay, well then they should be getting that sign off for you, not yourself. So that shouldn't be an expense that you bear. So.
Okay.
Yep.
What do I do about the three-phase power? Like it's not what it was.
Again, I'd be challenging that with the owners because they do need to repair your property or to restore it to its condition and in accordance with the code to what it originally was.
Good on you, Liz. Thank you. 131873. Where are we going, Muzz?
We're going to John, who is joining us from Roseville. Hello, John. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Murray and Steve. I've got a problem with an investment property we have, and several months ago there was a builder removing some scaffolding from the property next door, and as he moved the scaffolding around, he damaged the roof of one of the garages, the guttering and the garage door, which now can't be opened. One of the residents there got his licence and registration details and all that type of thing. When our Strata contacted him, he said, no, it wasn't caused by me. It was caused by a tree falling on the roof. There's no trees within cooey of the place. And now our Strata manager is saying the insurance company want us to lodge a claim, have it repaired, and they'll endeavour to recover the excess from the driver. And I don't see why we're going down that track when we've got all the details. And the resident there saw him and he handed over his licence willingly and that type of thing.
Yep.
And I said to her, well, contact the police and see what they can do about it. Just pass the detail. Oh, the police won't get involved in it. But I don't see why they won't.
Yeah, look, it's a regrettable situation that you find yourself in there. So the police won't get involved because it's not a criminal matter. It's a civil matter. So that's point number one. And the advice from your insurer and your Strata manager is correct. The best thing for you to do is to lodge an insurance claim. Now, because you've identified who was responsible for that claim, there should be no penalty, on either your premium or your excess for that, because they'll be able to pursue what they will do. They will pursue the driver's insurance company, and they'll sort it themselves out between insurers. Okay,
131873. That's the telephone number. So works need to be undertaken in complexes that are under Strata, over $5,000. It's major work. Got to go and get quotes and all the rest of it. Painting or. Explain this one to me. I know a couple of people. Mm-hmm. One's in the painting trade and the other one's in the electrical trade. They work exclusively for real estate agents. Mm-hmm. And all they do is Strata work.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there going, how do you manage to do that?
By the sounds of it, they're going to be working on behalf of the property owner. So they're on behalf of the property manager. So they're going to be doing works inside the apartment, doing minor repairs.
Not on the external.
Not on the external.
You hope.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. I'm just wondering where the real estate agents get involved in all of this stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely we do. So Strata managers and real estate agents work hand in hand because we act for the owners' corporation. They act for the landlords often. And So,
okay. Righto.
All good.
And there's one from Julianne as well joining us from Narrabeen. Hello, Julianne.
How you going, fellas?
Pretty good, thanks. What's your query for Stephen?
I'm in a top floor unit, block of 15, and my bathroom tiles on the floor are popping up. They're small ones, and there's multiple ones just keep popping up. My concern is obviously downstairs, the below units, but is that a body corporate responsibility when it's the floor and the waterproofing?
Yeah, it is, Julianne. So this is a difficult concept for a lot of people to grasp. But when you buy a Strata property, you're not actually buying a building, you're buying airspace. So you own all of the cubic airspace that's bounded by your 4 external walls, your ceiling and your floor. So by virtue of that, the floor tiles in is it your bathroom or your laundry or?
Bathroom, I think
Bathroom, yeah. So yes, on the surface of what you're telling me, I say yes, that it is an owner's corporation responsibility, and they'll come in and put it back down, and away they go.
Even though, see, I would be sitting back going, hang on, if the tiles are lifting up on my bathroom, it's through no building defect or anything, it's just they're old, well, I'll replace them. But you're saying it's a body corporate.
Yeah, so if they're original tiles, and by the sounds of it, from what Julianne just said they are.
Wow.
So the owners... Now, if you went ahead and did a renovation in your bathroom and you ripped it all out and started again,
Set of the bill.
then that in that circumstance, it becomes your responsibility.
I want my neighbour to pay for that second extra shower curtain I put in.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So this is what goes back to what we said earlier, is that Strata can be a little bit of a rabbit warren, and that's why we're here to help.
131873 is our telephone number. The hugely popular Mr. Stephen Brell from the Strata Community Association with the two Muzzies this Sunday afternoon. Back in a moment. Yes, indeed, this is the two Murrays. Listen, just from the New South Wales Rural Fire Service, Barton Street at Scone. There's a fire burning near Barton Street in Scone, and it's burning in an easterly direction. The most recent advice from the Rural Fire Service: seek shelter as the fire approaches. It was too late to leave. So that's the very latest from the RFS in New South Wales for residents east of Scone.
Okay.
This is the two Muzzies, and 131873 will put you in touch with Stephen Brell from the Strata Community Association. And Nick has joined us with I dare say, Nick, very good afternoon to you. This would not be an uncommon problem. How are you going?
Good, thank you. Good afternoon. Thanks for taking my call.
Pleasure, sir.
Quickly, we had an AGM the other week. It was an online AGM scheduled to start at 6 p.m. Received an email at about 3 p.m. saying we are starting at 6:15. Cut a long story short, meeting went through. I was the only one voted off the Strata committee. There was no voting for me. Usually there is. Found out the meeting did start at 6. I was not allowed online till 6:15 because they were trying to determine voting intentions prior to the letting me on.
Yeah, that sounds like something very
dodgy
has gone on there. Nick. Again, I would be lodging a complaint with NCAT again. And the other thing which I want to try and get across, which I was talking to the Murrays off air, was if you have a professional complaint about your Strata manager, and I'm not quite sure whether or not your meeting was conducted by a manager. However, if you think that your Strata manager is acting unprofessionally, please let our association know, because part of what we do is that we wrap bad Strata managers over the knuckles who aren't doing things properly, and if they continue to do things that aren't proper or professional, we will kick them out of our association.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Yep.
Okay. Are there many? When you say remove them from your association, are there many Strata managers that aren't a member? I mean,
we represent about 80% of the managers in New South Wales are covered by our association, and it is something, because we've got a code of ethics and a code of conduct, and and we also have a professional standard scheme in place, which limits the Strata manager's liability for professional, services.
Okay.
Again, it is something. It's very much like, what a CPA is to an accountant.
Yeah, sure.
That's what our association is to Strata managers.
Okay,
So,
beautiful.
131873 is our telephone number. Alan, by the way, sent us a text message. He says here, look, as far as he's concerned, there are 4 perils of living in a Strata environment. Non-resident owners couldn't care less. If levies go up higher, so does the rent. If Strata Committee's Tony Soprano can't snaffle all the kickbacks, settle for 15%. Number 3, Strata managers who turn a blind eye to evil because the Strata manager wants to keep the account. And how about this one, NCAT? He says, number 4, the NCAT organisation you've often referred to, Stephen Brell, are very reluctant to intervene. Is that your experience or not?
Look, NCAT, a criticism of NCAT, and I've got to stress, NCAT is the New South Wales Civil and Administrative Tribunal, which is the Consumer Affairs Association, where you can go and make a complaint through government. It has often been complained that they don't specialise in Strata, and that's something which we're talking to our Strata Commissioner about. The one thing I mentioned this last week that's coming in the new Strata regulations is that fair trading now can actually go through and apply for a compulsory appointment of a Strata building.
Wow.
So if those issues that are coming up there, so if an owner's having a problem, they can actually apply for a compulsory appointment, and the management of the scheme can be taken away from the owners themselves.
Okay, interesting stuff. All right, David Chandler's doing lots of good things by the sounds of it. 131873 is the number if you want to have a chat to Stephen. Martin has called through. G'day, Martin.
G'day, guys. How are you?
Pretty good, thank you. This must be a common complaint as well, old mate. Take us through it.
Yeah. So I'm just an owner of a unit in a unit complex. Every unit has a garage, and there's some, allocated areas for visitor parking, and there's a fairly limited width common driveway that goes through the complex, and nearly every complex is parking their second car, bike, you name it, on that actual common driveway. And even though there's been letters and everything that comes out from Strata, I just wanted to know what options there are to actually enforce anything to not have people park on that common driveway.
So keep that thoroughfare open.
Yeah, exactly right. So
yeah, that's right. And we actually have the thoroughfare is actually, part of it is enforced by council for them to get to one of their properties.
Mm-hmm.
But no matter what, letters or what have you, that there's still people that you're zigzagging through their parked cars, sort of thing.
Yeah, it sounds very troublesome. So there are two things that you can do here. So your owner's corporation can take those the parkers of those vehicles to, again, I'm going to refer to NCAT, where they can be fined. Now, I've got to stress that is a fairly lengthy sort of process to get any action out of them. The other thing that you mentioned, which is very interesting, and this is something for people all over Sydney to note, is that you can actually an owner's corporation can actually enter into an agreement with their local council where the council rangers will come out and fine residents who are parking in the visitor spaces.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so and
Look
again,
out.
yeah, that's right. So that's something which came. Very, very few owners corporations actually do this because I don't think they're aware of the legislation. However, if you have a car park which is accessible and you have a car park, particularly that's along the rail corridor, because that's what or public transport corridor, that's what they look for. So there are options available.
You know where I live?
Yeah.
We have one visitor's car spot.
Yeah,
There are 5 units, one visitor's car spot. Old mate next door from another part of the world claimed he didn't speak English that well. It was a bloody great sign. Do not park, this is for visitors. The guy living next door, come home late, he'd drive round and round the block a couple of times. Oh, I can't find a park. He'd park at the
visitor's
It
spot.
happened, I mean, I'm not kidding, once or twice. It happened for about a month, 6 weeks. I didn't mind. I could understand where he was, but our other people living in the block, he had it in mind. He looked at me and said, no, it's not going to happen. He was on the phone to council. Get rid of the car or I'm going to let the tyres down and hire a tow truck and drag him away.
It's on.
Yeah.
So anyway, it does happen.
It's frustrating.
Amazing
Very
stuff.
frustrating.
131873. Stephen Brell's with us. Now listen, I think we've only got a couple of minutes. Have we got quickly time to talk to Mark or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, Mark. Hi, can you be quick?
Yeah, hi guys. We had a Strata meeting last Monday and they representative from the company shamed one of our people for being in arrears. They named her and shamed her. That shouldn't go on, should it?
No, look, so what a strata manager or a chairperson has to do at the start of a meeting is they need to declare a quorum and they need to let everyone know who's entitled to vote. Now, there are subtle ways for this to happen. So if someone turns up to a meeting and they're not entitled to vote because they're in arrears, I would be doing that off air.
That's almost defamatory.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are subtle ways to do it. So
I mean, that's probably damaged that person.
Yeah, look, I often say this is like a strata manager's bedside manner. You know, you need to just develop a few human skills and you know, not to embarrass people in public like that.
Wow. Okay. All right. Good to see you. We could do this all day, couldn't we? We could do this all day. So if anybody wants to get hold of you, what's the best way to do it? Strata Community Association, how do we do it?
Yep, again, online, just Google Strata Community Association. You'll find our website there with lots of useful information, or call us 9492 8200.
Beautiful. All right.
Fantastic.
Good
Stephen,
stuff.
lovely to see you, mate.
Thank you, gents.